Did you know that Rome almost succumbed in a single battle? It was at Heracleia where Pyrrhus of Epirus, bringing war elephants, shook the Roman Republic. Today we will reveal how this confrontation shattered the confidence of the legionaries for the first time, and why this day was marked by the fear of witnessing the end of Roman expansion. For those who enjoy stories about empires and dynasties, this clash goes far beyond swordplay. The Battle of Heracleia tested the discipline of the legions against the Hellenistic power of Pyrrhus. We will see how the Republic reacted when facing, for the first time, phalanxes and elephants on an open field, and we will uncover the secrets behind the strategy that nearly toppled the Eternal City. You will understand why this initial defeat was a crucial warning for the Romans. They realized that adaptability would be the key to surviving foreign armies. More than a setback, Heracleia became a laboratory of tactics that shaped Rome's future conquests. And the most impactful thing is how all this reverberated throughout the following centuries of imperial expansion. If you want to discover the day when Roman pride hung by a thread, stay until the end. We will dissect every detail of this epic battle, without embellishments but filled with emotion. After all, Heracleia was not just the first clash with the Hellenistic world, but a portent of Roman power. Get ready, as history will show how a near defeat can forge an invincible empire. At the beginning of the 3rd century BC, Rome was consolidating its dominance over the Italian peninsula after defeating local tribes and other cities. Did you know that many Greek cities in southern Italy, like Tarentum, feared losing their autonomy to the growing Roman power? It was in this context that they sought help from Pyrrhus of Epirus, an ambitious Hellenistic king. This was the trigger for the Punic Wars, which lasted from 280 to 275 BC. Pyrrhus, a distant descendant of Alexander the Great, saw the Italian peninsula as the perfect opportunity to expand his dominion. He answered the call of Tarentum by bringing a Macedonian-style army composed of phalanxes, Thessalian cavalry, and most impressively, war elephants. It was something that the Romans had never faced before, a true clash of culture and strategy. Still, Rome did not bow to the threat. This war, known as the Punic Wars, was the first time Rome measured its strength against a cutting-edge Hellenistic army. While the Romans relied on the flexibility of their legions, Pyrrhus depended on the rigidity of his phalanxes. There was also Pyrrhus's reputation as a strategist, which boosted Greek morale. Little did they know that this clash would initiate a sequence of events that would shape Roman expansion policy. Even without experience against phalanxes and elephants, Rome concentrated its legions with determination. The war was not merely for control of a few cities, but for supremacy over all of southern Italy. And at the heart of this conflict was the confrontation that almost destroyed Rome, the Battle of Heracleia. When Pyrrhus landed in Italy with about 30,000 men and 20 elephants, Rome realized it was facing something extraordinary. Consul Publius Valerius Lavinius gathered an army of nearly 40,000 soldiers, including heavy infantry and cavalry. There was a sense that this battle would define who would set the rules on the peninsula. And it all started unexpectedly, with Rome launching the attack. Lavinius identified an opportunity to surprise Pyrrhus by crossing the Syrus River, catching the Epirate king off guard. In the first clash, Roman and Greek cavalry engaged in an even fight, but nothing prepared the Romans for the impact of the war elephants. These giant animals, unknown to the legions, spread terror when they charged, frightening the Roman cavalry and causing panic among the infantry. Seeing their horses retreat, the Roman formations were shaken, and Pyrrhus unleashed the Macedonian phalanx with full force. Many legionaries had never seen elephants before, which heightened the chaos on the battlefield. Taking advantage of the shock, Pyrrhus secured victory. The combination of elephants and phalanxes would be remembered as a decisive factor that almost ended Roman expansion. Despite the defeat, the Romans resisted as long as they could before retreating. The blow was significant, as they had not expected such a well-prepared and different enemy, and if anyone thought Rome would throw in the towel, they were mistaken. This near defeat reinforced a trait that would become legendary: the capacity to learn and not give up after a setback. The news of the defeat at Heracleia spread through Rome like a painful warning. Yet the Republic surprised everyone by not seeking peace, but rather reorganizing to continue the fight. This stubborn spirit of never surrendering would become a hallmark of the Romans. Did you know that Pyrrhus was astonished by this attitude as he expected a surrender after his victory? Pyrrhus attempted to negotiate with the Roman Senate, offering agreements and demanding concessions. However, Senator Appius Claudius Caecus led the rejection of the proposals, stating that there would be no negotiation while Pyrrhus remained on Italian soil. This refusal impressed the Epirate king even more, as he realized that Rome did not behave like the Greek city-states, which were known for surrendering after major defeats. With peace denied, Pyrrhus prepared for a new confrontation, such as the Battle of Asculum in 279 BC. Although he won again, he realized that each triumph came at a high cost, for Rome had the resources to continue mobilizing soldiers. Meanwhile, the Republic, although bruised, demonstrated that defeating it would not be a simple task. This Roman reaction would become a model for future campaigns, the willingness to fight to the bitter end. Even shaken, Rome began to think about how to neutralize the advantages of the elephants and phalanxes. This period of adaptation would be crucial for future wars. But Heracleia was not just a momentary blow. It shaped the way Rome would deal with foreign adversaries, paving the way for great conquests. Facing a Hellenistic army with phalanxes and elephants forced Rome to evolve militarily. Did you know that after Heracleia, specific tactics emerged to handle elephants, such as using fire and crescent formations to encircle them? These changes would be crucial against Hannibal, who also brought elephants in the Second Punic War. Moreover, the Romans realized that the phalanx was vulnerable in uneven terrain and to flanking attacks. To exploit these weaknesses, the organization of the legions was enhanced, making them more agile and versatile. Each defeat became a lesson, reinforcing one of Rome's primary virtues, learning from their mistakes and adapting them to their war reality. Another interesting point is that Rome began studying Macedonian formations in detail, hiring mercenaries, and consulting foreigners to better understand the phalanx. This cultural exchange helped absorb techniques, enhancing the effectiveness of the legions. It was as if each battle was a step in building an almost unbeatable war machine in the Mediterranean. It is remarkable to see how a single confrontation so profoundly impacted the Roman military mindset. Heracleia exposed vulnerabilities that, once corrected, further strengthened the Republic. This learning would not stay confined to the battlefield, but also influence the way Rome interacted with allies and enemies, shaping the diplomacy that characterized the empire. Pyrrhus was the first foreign king to directly challenge Rome in Italy, and this triggered a firm reaction. Rome developed the idea that any foreign military presence on its territory was unacceptable. Thus, defense often turned into expansion, establishing a pattern that would repeat itself throughout the centuries. In the Punic Wars, for instance, Rome fought Carthage with full force, conquering the entire western Mediterranean. Do you remember Hannibal, who crossed the Alps with elephants to surprise the Romans? The prior experience with Pyrrhus made Rome more attentive and prepared for such daring maneuvers. The result was a systematic and powerful response. Then came the Macedonian Wars, where Rome clashed with the successors of Alexander the Great. Again, the lessons learned from the Hellenistic phalanxes at Heracleia and Asculum gave the Romans the advantage they needed. With each victory, Rome solidified its dominance, absorbing Hellenistic culture and expanding its influence eastward. It became clear that the pattern would be: external threats would generate vigorous responses, and often this would culminate in new annexations. Heracleia was the starting point for this expansive posture that, while often justified as defensive, carried the name of Rome to all corners of the Mediterranean. The Romans' refusal to accept defeat became one of the great hallmarks of their history. Did you know that this trait persisted in the following centuries, serving as a foundation for campaigns against Hannibal and even against Eastern empires? With every blow suffered, Rome rose again with more soldiers and determination. This model of resistance and retaliation became evident in the total destruction of Carthage in 146 BC, after the Third Punic War. Rome made sure that its enemies could not rise again. This same attitude recurred in confrontations in the east against the Parthians and Sassanids, where Rome always attempted to recover or maintain territories, never accepting loss as final. There was also no complacency with internal rebellions, as in the case of Jerusalem in 70 AD, when the city was devastated after a revolt. This intensity reflected the Roman mindset that any threat, whether internal or external, needed to be crushed. Heracleia was the seed that showed the Romans the importance of never giving up. It was as if, every time Rome was tested, it emerged stronger, determined not to repeat past mistakes. Without a doubt, the Battle of Heracleia, by exposing the weaknesses of the Republic, contributed to the creation of the military culture that would sustain imperial conquests for generations. The Battle of Heracleia was much more than a simple confrontation. It redefined how Rome would face future conflicts. If Pyrrhus had definitively defeated the Republic, the Roman Empire might never have emerged with such strength. Would the West then be marked by Hellenistic heritage instead of Roman? This war was a laboratory, a rehearsal for future campaigns against powers like Carthage and Macedonia. In every victory or defeat, Rome absorbed tactics, cultures, and reinforced its determination. It left a legacy of resilience that profoundly influenced the way they fought in decisive battles for centuries to come. Now we want to know your opinion. Which event do you think contributed the most to the end of the Republic and the rise of the Empire? Was it the rise of Julius Caesar, Pompey's ambitions, or Cleopatra's allure? Leave your comment, as it may bring new perspectives to this eternal debate. And of course, check out other videos on the channel, giving a like and subscribing to keep up with more content about the history of Rome. If you want to dive even deeper into the great wars that shaped civilizations, we have an unmissable digital product. It explores the strategies and battles that transformed not only Rome, but various empires over the centuries. Access the link in the description, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to not miss any updates. Thank you for watching, until now, and remember, history proves that in the face of crises, the ability to adapt is the greatest asset for survival.